Alright, this is going to be part one of my 2-day Force of Hope advanced tutorial. Essentially, I'm kind of assuming that you're going for 7-day at this point, and if you're going for 7-day run, you should probably be learning the 6-day strats because you're going to be going for 6-day eventually anyway. And so this route is essentially just a 6-day route split over 2 days. A lot of it's the same as the beginner route, but there are a couple extra tricks. But it starts off the same. First, you're just going to want to flower all your Pikmin after they destroy the wall. It's fine if actually not all of them are flowered. If you have, 2 to 3 leaves, that's okay too. But just have mostly flowers. And head over here and throw 10 reds onto this 10 pellet. And if you have any leaves, they should go on this pellet. And then kill these 2 Bulborbs. We're pretty much just min-loading everything in this area. And we want to make sure we have at least 8 Pikmin left over to do a trick coming up. So to skip using blues here, we can just bring the reds into the water and then whistle them. And they'll come towards Olimar and jump up on the land over here. And then here, just stick them into the water and whistle them. And then this is actually very important where you stand here. You got to stand just on the edge of the land here, kind of on this left corner. And that will bring the reds to a place where they actually reset their drown timer before they die. Right there. And then you can whistle them again, move a little farther inland, and that'll bring them up onto the land. And then you can just throw them up onto the sticks. So now we're going to head back and grab all the remaining Pikmin over here. And if you can grab, between 1 and 3 leaves, it's not necessary. If they're kind of far out of the way, you shouldn't grab any. But they help speed up bringing stuff back a little bit. And then kill all the pellet posies and Bulborbs, obviously. And if you can, put your leaves on the 5 pellet. And then as these posies are going down, we're going to put 4 flowers onto the bridge. If you don't have enough to carry everything, that's fine. Just prioritize the red pellets and the Bulborbs. And then as soon as you can, just come back to plucking, and we're going to keep plucking until everything's back into the onion. And at that point, we should have between 35 and 40 Pikmin. So here I have 37. That's pretty good. And I end up with 77 Pikmin total, which is all you need, but I like to have a couple extras, so I'll grab that yellow pellet as well. And you'll have a different number of pellets extra depending on how good luck you get from the Bulborbs. Although you're always guaranteed to get at least 77, but sometimes you get extras like that. So come back and pluck the rest after you put them all on the wall. And one thing about this, so if a late pellet comes back like this and the seed drops in kind of an inconvenient location, say it were to drop right where I am right now, I wouldn't be able to immediately pluck it, so I would have to come around again later to grab it. I would actually just leave it under the onion for now, and we'll pass by this area later, and it'll be late enough that Pikmin will be flowered by then, and we can just grab it then. So after you're done plucking, just bring everyone to the wall over here. And make sure you're in the 45-degree camera angle and you're holding forward so you actually walk as fast as possible. Although that doesn't necessarily matter too much because of the leaves. Those are pretty slow. And growing the yellows is pretty much the same strat as the beginner strat. So I'm actually going to be showing you a slightly safer strat. Because this is a more dangerous route, obviously, you can lose yellows a little bit easier. And this is a safer strat where you grow 17 yellows instead of only 15. And one thing I actually already messed up is I should have thrown 2 reds to the side there. I only threw 1, but I'll throw the second one after this cutscene. And the second red doesn't really matter whether it's a leaf or a flower. You just need at least 1 red flower. And then after you kill the Bulborb with C-stick throwing, just grab your yellow. Like normal, just, start grabbing pellets and put your reds on this wall over here to keep them out of the way. And now since we have 2 reds, we're going to put 1 on each pellet posy here. And that extra pellet posy is what's going to get us 17 yellows instead of just 15. And I actually didn't need to throw that red there. I don't know why I did that. But just throw your 1 red flower there, and then the 2 yellows, and then throw 1 yellow on that one of those pellets. And so instead of grabbing all 3 of these bombs up here, when we grab our 3 yellows, we're going to put 1 on the pellet, and then just grab 2 bombs, because there's extra bombs in this route, so it's fine if we only grab 2 of the 3 there. And then just make sure this 1 pellet gets back quick. And then head over to the wall. And we're just going to destroy this wall like normal. It just takes 3 bombs. I actually messed up a little bit, and I'm so used to only having 15 yellows that I actually tried to save this 1 yellow, but I could have just left it to die because I had extra yellows. It goes over the wall here, and I try to make sure it's not near the bomb, but I could have just left it. And then just pluck the remaining yellows here. If you do the 17 strat, there should be 8 yellows here. If you do the 15 strat, there should be only 6. And now I'm going to whistle everyone, and I want to make sure I have all but 12 in my party. If I had left 1 on the onion, I would have all but 13. Because there are 12 on the bridge right now. And right now, I'm looking at this dwarf bulborb on the top right. Because it's on the right side of the large bulborb, I know I won't have to worry about it. But if it was on the left side, or kind of in the front of the large bulborb, I would just take note of that now so I could deal with it later. So this box is pretty annoying. If any Pikmin go on top of the box, they kind of dismiss themselves. So what you gotta do is just barely stand on it with Olimar, and kind of C-stick right a little bit to keep the Pikmin off the box as much as possible as you throw them on top of the box. You're bound to have some dismiss themselves, but if you get good at it, you can actually only have flowers on top of the box. Here, I think I get 1 or 2 buds and 1 leaf. And then hold C right when you dismiss the rest there, so that they don't go near the water. And so here, if the bulborb was on this side, I would go over here to kind of pull it away from the large bulborb and swarm it to kill it. And then the way you get your Pikmin over this bridge here is what you might think to do is just swarm them around Olimar, but that actually doesn't work because they're leaves. They don't swarm super effectively. So what you got to do is as soon as this box finishes pushing, whistle all your Pikmin off it, and before the Pikmin even come back into your party, immediately go across the bridge with Olimar and keep the Pikmin away from you, and then swirl your C-stick while they're away from you. If you swirl the C-stick when they're far away from you, they actually stay in a line like that. And so now I'm going to the right side here. The reason is, if I were to go to the left side, the Snagret would actually spawn kind of in my way, but because I go off to the right, it'll spawn farther to the right, and it won't be in my way. And now I'm going to grab a red in my hand. Feel free to not do this, by the way. This only saves about 2 seconds. But I'm going to grab a red in my hand, and when I get to the end of this shadow, that's when the Snagret's going to spawn. And I'm going to throw that red on the Snagret's head, and that'll just make it bury itself in the ground about 2 seconds faster. Just a small time save there. Just like that. And then regardless of whether you did that or not, just kill the Snagret like normal. There's a 1 in 4 chance of it coming up fast. So, just like normal, if it comes, of it coming up slow, there's a 1 in 4 chance. So you just gotta wait for that, essentially. And here I'm holding left and C-stick left so that the flowers will come to the front of the party, and I can grab a flower with Olimar, so only the flowers will be plucking nectar. And I'm trying to C-stick up. Essentially, I'm trying to alternate the C-stick and the control stick in different directions and walk through my bombs here in order to maximize the amount of flowers I can get with a single piece of nectar. You can nectar them all with one piece of nectar, but it's just a little bit harder. And I like to walk back through the nectar just to make sure that a couple of the Pikmin grab it to finish off so it doesn't get in my way later. And then I'll max load this part. It's actually fine if only 23 or 24 grab the part. That's all you need to have it guaranteed to not get eaten. But I like the 25 on there just to have fewer Pikmin for later. I think it makes it a little easier. And then I'm going to come down here and put my yellows in the can to grab the remaining bombs, and then I'll get the Eternal Fuel Dynamo started. And then grab any remaining yellows, and you should have 10 bombs at this point if you did the 17 yellow strat. It's also fine if you only have 9 bombs. You'll just not use one later. And right here is actually where I would grab, say I left a red under the onion. It would be a flower by now, and I would grab it while this wall is falling down. And here, this first bomb, I throw it in that little bright area there, and then I throw 2 in the shadow, and then I throw the remaining 4 on the wall here. If you only had 6 bombs here, you would not throw in the bright spot to kill the dwarf bulborb. You could kill that later. But since I had the 1 bomb, I'll just use it now. So now I'm going to grab all my Pikmin, and I'm going to try to get a red in my hand here. Just like that. And it's just 2 things. First of all, I want to grab this dwarf bulborb here. It gives me 4 Pikmin, so I'll just get a few extras for later for Forest Navel. And I want to throw 6 Pikmin on there because I don't want too many in my party. But then also, I like having the reds in the front of my party. It just makes the distract later a little bit easier. So I'm kind of holding C-Stick up right here to make sure that the yellows and the reds stay separated. I don't want to swirl at all or else they'll get all mixed up. I want to make sure that the yellows are kind of in the back so that when I pass this dwarf bulborb up in front of me, I want to pass it on the left and again be holding C-Stick kind of down right so that the yellows and the back half of my reds will swarm it and kill it, and I'll have a red in my hand that I can throw up on the ledge. Just like that. And what I try to do, although I fail a little bit, is I normally try to wait for all the Pikmin to be off the bulborb before I whistle, because there's usually 1 dismissed Pikmin there, and I'll whistle that 1 dismissed Pikmin, and then I'll use that to kind of wake up the bulborb as I pass it on the left. And as long as I'm far enough on the left, the Pikmin that touches the bulborb won't latch onto it, it'll just wake it up. I end up grabbing it too many, but it's actually okay, they don't grab it. And then I'm just going to want to zoom in the camera also after I pass the bulborb and kill the dwarf bulborb, the larger ones off camera. And then swarm into this bucket here and bring the large bulborb back on camera so it will go over to the side where that red is on top of the wall. And swarm this part over here. Don't put too many on it, because if you put too many, sometimes they don't grab it and you got to go back and get them. But then it's time to destroy the water wall like normal here. Ideally, if you can, it would be great to only use 2 bombs for this water wall. Although because we're doing a 2-day strat here instead of just a 1-day Force of Hope strat, it's actually okay to use a couple extras. But just, you should really try to practice that, and it actually saves probably 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so to not have to use any extra bombs there. But then once both yellows are coming back to me, either they're both drowned and I whistle them, they're coming back to me, then I'm going to go over to the right and whistle the red, and then by that time, the yellows will be on land. I can whistle them, bring the bulborb off camera, and then keep going. And I'm going to throw 4 bombs up here. If I had used extras on the wall, I would throw fewer. Like, say I used 1 extra on the water wall, I would only throw 3 up here. But essentially, I want to make sure that I have 9 bombs left in my party. So however many you have to throw up here, make sure you throw up a certain number so you have 9 in your party. And then I'm going to go and C-stick my non-bombs onto this dead bulborb so they're not in my party anymore, and I only have bombs. And then head over, destroy this wall like usual. And now you can dismiss your yellows here, and we're going to destroy the ACB gate. If you had only 3 bombs up here or something, you would just throw the 3 bombs. It wouldn't fully destroy it, but just throw all your bombs onto the gate here. And we're just going to leave that for the next day. And grab all the stragglers here, and we don't want too many Pikmin going in the next area, so I'm actually just going to dismiss all these Pikmin here. Grab my 55 or so, I have 55 reds here, and then throw onto the wall here. So you're going to want to have at least 9 left in your party after you finish throwing here. Because I have kind of a lot, I end up having 11 in my party, and I only throw, I think, 44 up there. And because I'm done a little early with everything else, I've actually caught up to this this bridge here, and I'm here before it's done. So I'm just going to throw over on the left side to get it done a little quicker. As you can see, there's a bit of an invisible wall on top of the unfinished bit, and it's just a little easier to get the Pikmin over the invisible wall on the left side, so that's why I threw on the left. And so now dismiss onto the Sagittarius here. Don't go too close to it, or else you'll trigger the text box. And then head over to the shock absorber. And the shock absorber it's the exact same strat as in the beginner route. You just whistle your Pikmin, walk by the Bulborb, toik it up, and then C-stick on the part and distract the Bulborb. And you're guaranteed to have it not eat any Pikmin if you distract it twice. So once you distract it twice, you can just go on your way, head back to base to grab more Pikmin to speed up these two parts. And these are the last two parts we're getting on this day. And one thing you want to make sure not to do is actually don't pluck these extra Pikmin that are growing under the onion yet. We're going to pluck them on the next day because they'll be flowers. And this is a good place also to practice your cutscene skips. So whistle any stragglers, make sure they don't get left behind. And then once this piece is back, you can end the day.